Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Danae, and I'm here with a message for you. What's going on, beautiful people? I hope you all are doing well. It is I back after a little impromptu vacay. Didn't intend to be away for so long. Didn't intend to be away at all, but it just kind of like happened and I didn't fight it. So I told you this season you would have to kind of bear with me because I'm just flowing as I feel guided in the spirit. And it was just a break that I didn't know that I needed or wanted. And it turned out to be rejuvenating and regenerative. So I'm here and clear. Got some brand new cards, which are super slippery. Got a little bit of a new setup going on that I'm still tweaking. So I'm just tell you right now in advance, cards are probably going to be crooked. They might even be out the frame as I'm trying to get used to this new angle and so and things like that. But I mean, the most important thing is that you're here and I'm here, and I hope that you're having a wonderful season. I hope that you are really enjoying all of the wonder, and it is a lot of wonder of this season, for the best that it has to offer. All right, so without further ado, I ain't going to chat it up too much. Hopefully I won't be here too long either, but let's see what we got here today. All right, we got the 9 of Cups, and then we got the Moon peeking out here on the bottom. Now the cards are hella slippery, so there's probably going to be a lot of peekage and slidage. And then the Chariot here underneath. So definitely some satisfaction here, some wish fulfillment, someone that is quite pleased with themselves, feeling supremely esteemed in some way, shape, or form, perhaps. The Chariot is maybe because of some sort of success or achievement that's been accomplished, or multiple ones at that. With the 9 of Cups, sometimes I can see those as trophies. So this is a high achiever here that we're speaking of. Somebody extremely ambitious, strong-willed, determined. I just heard that somebody has beat the odds, because the Moon card gives another energy of something more mysterious and mystical. Perhaps even someone has overcome their fears, or has overcome the illusion of fear. Wow. What does that mean? So it's like somebody was being I'm saying somebody, but obviously this is like the spirit of the season that a lot of folks are coming into, like kind of pulling into the finish line of some great tests and trials and tribulations over cycles, and multiple seasons, years, decades, perhaps even lifetimes of testing and challenges, like almost gladiator style is what I'm getting here, and not really knowing what the next obstacle would be, or the next challenge, or opponent, even like, even I'm hearing like secret enemies and things like that. Like, so there's something secretive here, but it's in the way of what could evoke fear, or what did even evoke fear at a time. And that's the overcoming that someone is quite pleased about, that when maybe in the darkest night of their life experiences, somehow they still were able to persevere, and, you know, find a silver lining, or the light at the end of a tunnel, or imagine that there is one when you couldn't see one, whatever it was. Because the Chariot card is like man, what's a good word for it? Like, the will of the Chariot is just unstoppable, you know. So this just speaks to an energy of someone that has a lot to be proud about on account of their performance in life, you know, and not performance in a theatrical sense, but just how someone has I don't know, performance just seems trivial. Like, it almost feels like I'm making it small, but it's not performance as in, like, you know, putting on a show. This is just really how someone has acted in life, you know. Let's see what else we got, because I'm going in on that for a reason. I guess first of all, I should say congratulations if you can relate to that storyline. Maybe some, you know, we're just coming out of Mercury retrograde, and we just had a full moon, which we're still more or less in the energy of, on the 15th. And, you know, it could have been an intense cycle for you, and this is the last full moon of the year. So maybe it really is a signature to you just finishing the year out strong, and kind of like planting your feet on the podium on that victor's podium, so to speak, to really allow yourself to revel in the accomplishments and the achievements of this past year. Because sometimes we could just be going through the motions, and, you know, like I said, being determined and tenacious and resilient, and sometimes we don't even get an opportunity to see what we have achieved, let alone to celebrate it or acknowledge it. And most times it may not be acknowledged from the outside, you know. So now probably would be a good time, as Mercury's going direct. It could have been a lot of reflecting, or even dredging up a lot of past energy to maybe that's what I'm feeling. It's like this contention with the past, you know, in ways that you didn't even realize you were wrestling with. I definitely know there's got to be some truth to that, because there were some energies that came up for me that, you know, all I knew to do was just to persevere, and to, you know, be continuously purging and filtering out what I know is pure, and what I know, you know, might be outdated or outmoded, or it was just a continuous process. And now, literally in this moment, as I'm speaking on it, I didn't really realize that that's what was going on. You know, I was just doing it in Chariot mode, like, oh, who's the next opponent? What's the next energy to combat? What's the next mindset to confront? What's the next feeling or emotion to decipher, you know, or to give what do you call it, meaning to, or, you know, or to release altogether. And literally in this moment, I'm thinking about it like there was a lot going on energetically that you almost didn't really even have time to sit and as quickly as you were confronting, well, as quickly as it was coming up is as quickly as you were confronting, if you can relate to anything that I'm saying for myself. But you didn't really even have time to stop and think about what you were confronting, or what was going on, or what was next, or what. It was just like, wow, man, I'm literally feeling it right now. It was, you were just in like warrior stance, that's the best way I can can express it, just like on guard, so maybe now is this moment of like being at ease, finally, perhaps, if you can relate to it. And there's so much going on in the world that you would almost feel like, how could one be at ease in any way and in any way, shape, or form right now? But what may be a continuation of confrontation and battle for some, as you observe and look around, I feel secure to say that if you can relate to what I'm saying and where I am, the battle is over for you. Now, there may be a new point of a new charge, or a new call to arms, but it won't look like what we just closed out. That I'm sure of. It's going to look like something quite different. And I've said before, like, the new call to arms, or charge, so to speak, is really just maintaining this posture of satisfaction and fulfillment and supreme self-esteem, and affirmation of the position that you've gained and earned, to feel pleased with yourself, and even to be satisfied with life. That's brings up a new challenge that really is unfamiliar to most of us, because as I was saying, we've been used to fighting against opponents, and against resistance and obstinance, and everything pushing against us, for lack of a better, I was trying to find something else, but yeah, like, we've been used to there always being an enemy, and a quite powerful one, so it seemed, or so it felt, and that more or less being representative of the moon, that spirit of fear, where even if there wasn't anything happening in the moment, there was always this looming energy of anticipation, or dare I even say anxiety or paranoia about what could happen, or what has yet to happen, or what is almost certain to come, that would kind of obstruct, disturb, I should say, this posture of pleasure, pure pleasure. But now to sit in this is a challenge all itself. And a lot of, I think a lot of what was going on through this Mercury retrograde, which we still have the post shadow to pull through till January 2nd, but for the most part, like, I already feel a lightening in the energy, just, off of it being stationary and now going direct. So even in the full moon as well, where usually there's this anticipation of heaviness that you need to filter out, or that I'll personally say that I may need to filter or purify, and I haven't really even felt that, to be honest, so it's like most of the darkness and heaviness that was most contentious has been purged. And it was like the full moon and Mercury retrograde were like ships passing in the night, where Mercury was just about to be stationary as the moon was full, but it was like a glimpse, of that transition, but they still did pass each other. So I gotta say, like yesterday, I was irritated, and I did observe myself feeling like unusually irritated, like kind of just not heavy, but just like agitated, about little things that typically aren't really that deep to me. So I know that there was some impact from that transit that was happening, that lunation that was happening. But today, like I feel completely different, and here lies the confirmation to really sit in that feeling of satisfaction. Allow yourself to do so. Give yourself permission. Encourage yourself to do so. And then in the moments when you feel that old residue of agitation or paranoia or anxiety, you should allow yourself to come back to that position of gratitude and peace, you know what I mean? Like, but not just peace feels trivial too in this sense. Like it's something more profound than that. Maybe it's something that you know better when it comes to how you relate to this card, this Nine of Cups, than I can actually put a word to. It's just that feeling of ease, when there's nothing to worry about, everything's taken care of. There's great hopefulness for what's to come in the future, and even what's to come right around the corner, and there's no feeling of angst or defensiveness about any impending dangers or fears. It's just ease, like ease and satisfaction. So it's okay to feel that feeling. Allow it to completely saturate you, since this is cup energy, for you. Allow yourself to be completely saturated in it. Let's see what we got here. And they're going to be popping all over the place because they're new. So they're so, wow, yeah, here's the Empress. The Empress and the Six of Cups. And the Empress is always sitting pretty. There's a certain sense of responsibility and duty, I would say, and leadership. But generally speaking, she's usually never at a loss for how she can contribute or create productively. Well taken care of, prosperous, wealthy, looking good, smelling good, feeling good, And then we got the Six of Cups, which is about past energy. So I guess that is kind of the contrast that I'm speaking of, where here is the quick transition, even as I speak of it, where there's the nostalgia of how, in this case, the nostalgia of dependency, or even codependency, I would say, with the Six of Cups, where the Empress is, to the contrary, quite independent of an energy. Here we have the Six of Cups, where the feminine energy is kind of relying on someone giving her something, or an expectation for someone to give her something or offer her something, where the Empress just is something, something else, as a matter of fact. It's like there's a fulfillment here, a need for nothing in the Empress energy that is contrary to what's implied in the Six of Cups, and especially given that the Six of Cups is about regressive you know, a regressive memory, a past experience. Again, could even be past life, as I said, where there was always this expectation to perhaps maybe not have enough, maybe not be enough, for there to always be some void in resources or in provision, maybe even with the cups and love and the exchange of love, for there to always be some type of imbalance in love and in relationships. Yeah, but not so much with the Empress. What's under the deck? Oh, and the Moon again. So yeah, I feel like that's confirming to what I'm saying about this, what's been overcome, you know, a triumph over the past, or a triumph over fears, a triumph over old limiting mindsets. Because it would first start with a limiting mindset that would foster a dysfunctional connection, you know, or a dysfunctional consciousness, you know, and for there to be creativity out of that dysfunction, and so, you know, would yield a cycle. So that's what's been overcome in a very victorious way, though. Like, I can't stress that enough with that Chariot and the Nine of Cups. It's like, you deserve to, you deserve to feel proud of yourself. You deserve to feel honored, you know, or feel honorable, or I don't know. It's like, yeah, like you should feel worthy of praise. Okay. But not in the sense of like worship per se, but, you know, like, generally speaking, you know, for you to be congratulated, which is a form of praise for all that you have accomplished, you know. And if no one else is going to tell you, I sure will. And if you can't take it from me, then hopefully you can speak it unto yourself. Because the Moon is just like I said, with the energy of the full moon as it was, the aspects are intense, and it's no small feat to keep your head above water. And I'm taking the cards upright right now. That one kind of spent around, but because they're so slippery, because they're so new, it wouldn't be fair for me to really, I don't think it would be fair for me to take that in reverse when it spins. If it just lands in reverse, so be it. But and then we got the Queen of Cups here, which again, it speaks to some high expectation and love on account of there being a high aptitude of emotional intelligence and creativity here. Like someone that knows how to love and is willing to do so and creates out of love is deserving of it, I would say, you know. And you know, I'm going to be crazy about figuring out a straight format, even though it's virtually impossible because I don't really have my line established anymore. But yeah, so Queen of Cups is not only is she loving, but she is commanding of love. I wouldn't say demanding, but she commands love because of what she resonates from her being. So yet again, another contrast from from the Six of Cups, where there is almost a solicitation here with the Six of Cups of love, like almost asking for it, or holding out for it, or waiting for it. It's like the Queen of Cups is it. And with the Empress next to it, that's the command energy, where it's just expected. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, it doesn't even need to be spoken, really, because it's just a natural expectation that as the Queen of Cups, you're not going to accept anything less than what you're willing to give and create. And the Seven of Pentacles is about investments. Yeah, so it's, you know, taking inventory over the investments of the past. And now, as I was saying before, like giving, I was trying to say something like assigning value. That was a term that I was trying to find earlier, like to assign value to what has been discovered through this retrograde and through this past season that we've been in, and determining now what's worthy of a continued investment, or maybe even more of an investment, and you know, what of the harvest is inedible, you know what I mean? Or just like, I don't know, like what stays and what goes is pretty much the idea here. And that's people, places, and things. I feel like this is even more so like an outside energy of those that are in consideration, because a lot, you know, with Mercury retrograde, there's a lot of like past relationship energies, like exes, or you know, old acquaintances, so on and so forth. And some people are taking inventory themselves of what they've been investing in, and you know, what it has yielded. Because once upon a time, they may have, you know, more or less anticipated to be able to offer anything, you know, as a consolation of of love or devotion or commitment, you know, and it be accepted simply on the strength of codependency or dependency in general. But now, with all of this advancement that has seemingly happened almost overnight to some and for some, which obviously it hasn't, but it seems like a burst of becoming or being that has happened in a blink of an eye for some, where it seems like just not too long ago, you may have been in this Six of Cups energy, not only willing to give all of yourself, but also willing to receive whatever, you know, receive whatever you could get, pretty much, you know what I mean, to settle for very little. And now, like I said, that's just not the case for so many, especially divine feminine energies, you know, that are quite aware of their power, of their creativity, of their force, of their gifts, you know, of their energy, what they bring to the table, of their own sense of sensuality, and their own establishment of satisfaction. And what that truly is, that could also be the Nine of Cups, like having finally established a standard of satisfaction that is unwavering, where if it doesn't match up, it's a no-go, you know. So this is some energies now that are kind of having to take new inventory over not only what they have to give, but what they're willing to give. Or I should say maybe what they're willing to give and what they have to give, because it's two very different things, I think, for some now. Because I feel like those that have kind of been withholding from feminine energies in particular, but generally speaking from what would be fairly balanced and reciprocal connections, are finding themselves deficient at this time to kind of make up the difference of what was withheld for so long. So all that to say, like, those that were used to giving scraps or the bare minimum for what was ultimately an Empress Queen of Cups energy that, you know, was willing to receive it, are finding now that what they were given before is not enough, and also what they have to give now, or are willing to give now, may still fall a bit short, you know, because there hasn't been a cultivation of giving and reciprocity and, you know, enhanced investment. It's been more hoarding, you know, than anything. And imagine, I'm getting this idea of a storehouse. I think there's even a scripture about that too, like of ultimately when you're filling up your storehouse. I think it was a scripture about a man who just like filled up his storehouse, like back in that day, it was like where you kept your harvest, like the surplus of your harvest, right? And stocking it up for a rainy day, you know, or just in case, or, you know, or just to see it piled up and stacked up, you know what I mean? But never really giving, never really sharing. Hell, probably even indulging in it sparingly, but just so fixated on this idea of it being stacked. But ultimately, those harvests become perishable, or are perishable, especially if we're, as I believe it was a parable really speaks of, if it's food, you know, it's not but so long that certain things will last just sitting for, you know, for observation purposes, or just to be like, yeah, I got all this. At some point in time, it becomes worthless, because, as I said, it's either inedible or it just doesn't have the same savor anymore. So consider that figuratively or literally, but more figuratively, of course, where some of the things that people placed a lot of stock in to be satisfaction, wish fulfillment, Nine of Cups energy, they are finding now that those don't really yield as much of a return, or they don't maintain their value in the long run, you know, in so many different ways that is playing out. But there are certain energies that are just timeless and precious and priceless, and they never depreciate. And love, in particular, with the Queen of Cups, is one of those things. Confidence, creativity with the Empress card is more of those things that never goes out of style. It never tarnishes, it never spoils, it never depreciates. It not only does it maintain its initial value, it appreciates with time. You know, so it's like trying to buy into a stock when it's at its highest point is where some folks are now, like trying to get in good with quality stock, so to speak, you know what I mean? Like quality relationships, friendships, and, you know, opportunities, connections. But like I said, like you're still trying to buy at the low price that it was worth, or at least you considered it to be worth a long time ago. And now you don't even have what it costs to buy in at this point, you know. It's much higher. because it has an even greater value. So again, I say, if you find yourself on the higher end of that ideal, congratulations. Yeah, here's the Four of Pentacles. This is that that wanting to hold on or conserve energy, maybe even maintain a price, you know, like, how am I trying to say this? Like, hold on to, it's like somebody trying to hold something at its value, at a low value. That's what it is. Where it's just like, you know, or trying to like get something on sale. That's what I'm getting. Like trying to bargain for something on sale now because it's like, this is what I got, you know, like almost trying to hustle, or, you know, like flea market type jive when you're at a freaking, I don't know, luxury showroom at this point, like trying to hustle for, well, I got $4. What can I get with that? Like, nothing. A keychain, maybe, if that, you know what I mean? Like, it's somebody trying to hustle for the low to gain something that is quite precious, you know. But again, it's a bit withholding because, like I said, either they don't really have much to really offer, or they're still not willing to, you know. They still want to be able to have access to whatever this is, whether it's a person, place, or thing, at a price that used to be reasonable and considerable, and now that it's not. Really, I feel like it's just that some people just don't have it to offer to level up, you know what I mean, more so than it is they don't want to. It's just really, it's like somebody that passed up an opportunity to be in a commitment, you know, a loving commitment with someone that is of high value here with these feminine energies on this board. But they rather play the field, or they rather, you know, be a playboy, or, you know, sow their wild oats, or just, you know, keep their options open, whatever the case may be. And now, when all of that value, you know, those commodities have kind of run low at this point, or proven themselves to be, when that energy itself, expending that energy, has proven itself to be, I don't want to say worthless, but like, I don't know what to say that would be ignorant as hell, but that didn't yield as great of a return as anticipated. Let's just say that. Now, all they have left is Four of Pentacles, and they would want to transfer, you know, exchange that energy for what they ultimately passed up on. But as I keep saying, it's like there is no point of exchange here that would be fair. You know, it's like somebody spent all their best time and energy doing things that, or in a way that was not refueling or refilling. It was only depleting. And so now they're looking to reconnect to sources of energy that are refueling and refilling, except that they almost need a total refill at this point, so there is no reciprocity. And once upon a time, that would have been acceptable, but now it's just not. Now it's just not. And who, like you, like I said, we still got the shadow phase. So this Mercury retrograde has been different for me than I would say any of them, quite honestly, because it's been a subtle challenge that, like I said, I didn't even realize how it was playing out until I was speaking about it to you. But there still is the post shadow phase where there could be propositions, proposals of some sort that arise to still test their resolve. Like, will you take the Four of Pentacles? You know, like, can this be enough? Can I give you that in an IOU, or, you know, can I get it on credit? And it's like, that'll be up to you. Yeah, with the Page of Wands, it's like, it's a minimal expression of passion. It's for some, it could be good news, or it could even be exciting or a thought, but in the long run, as the Seven of Pentacles implies, would it yield a great return on your invested energy? I don't know. And especially if somebody's at the Four of Pentacles and this is really all they have to offer is a Page of Wands energy. Somebody that's just really excited to start something new, they're seeking out new energies, new inspiration, trying to shake off their, I don't know, like their indiscretions, I guess. In a new experience, or revisiting an old experience as a new one, I don't know. Not that the Page of Wands in itself has that bad of a rap, but coming up off of what I'm saying to that underneath, there's not a lot to be offered. There's a lot to gain, and there's a lot in expectation with the Page of Wands. There's a lot of anticipation of discovery and experience and advancement and exposure. But again, that feels more opportunistic than it does opportunistic to absorb than it feels to exchange, And again, in this case, there just may not be a point of exchange to make, like, fairly speaking, like no shade whatsoever. Yeah, and here's the Eight of Swords. Again, this is this empowerment where some people might wish that you would still be that damsel in distress that doesn't know any better, or doesn't know their worth, or is just happy to be in a relationship, or happy that somebody's interested, or happy to be in a friend group, to be associated with a certain group of people, or happy to have a certain status or title or whatever, like there's a binding, almost a stronghold to certain things that create a dependency. But what's on the bottom here? And here's yet another page, so that they can do what? Offer you this little ass offer and look like a hero. That's really what it comes down to. But with the Page of Cups, the page in this case needs to be filled up more than it can ever do any filling. This is like a child, really a dependency. So it could be energies that pose themselves to have something of value to offer, but they're really just looking to be filled, Yep, protect your energy and stand your ground on who you know yourself to be, on your standards, the standards that have been established up to this point, and don't compromise. Simply put, there's no reasonable point of compromise for offers that just pale in comparison to what you are willing and able to give. No concessions, no considerations, no excuses made. And that's just that on that, because that's what the Empress commands. And it's understood, like, you wouldn't go to the Queen, asking for handouts. The Queen of England, well, she doesn't exist anymore, but the King of England perhaps asking for handouts. Yeah, because some people just want to bring their burdens. Some people just want relief. That's what they want. They want relief in partnership, because another thing is, a lot of people that some people may have refused commitment and partnership because they rather be single, they rather be on their own, or have the liberty to kind of like move and shake as they see fit. But there's a realization now that two heads are better than one, especially when you got two strong minds that are in alignment and have, the greatest good of all in mind, at the forefront of their mind, in intention, I'll say. But that's a commodity that's hard to find. You can find a whole lot of folks out here that's opportunistic and, willing to say and do whatever to put themselves in a great position, but not a whole lot of folks that are of the mindset to look out for you just as much as they allow you themselves to be looked out for. And both are equally important, because some people, especially women, know how to give and have a hard time receiving, and some men know how to take and have a hard time giving. And of course, it works the opposite way. But to actually be so balanced in the mindset that you are open and available to receive, simply put, love, you know what I mean? Available and open for love to receive it, willing to receive it as you are willing and able to give it. That's a precious commodity in a human being. Yep. All right, let's just get a couple more. My incense is running low, and I said I wouldn't be long. Whoop. And we got two. Oh, I felt it too. I was like, I feel like the Lovers is going to come out, and here it is. I literally was saying that as I was speaking about reciprocity, and here's the surrender here to it, to that spirit of partnership and commitment and union, not forcing it to, trying to control it to be anything inorganic, but surrendering to how it unfolds, how it reveals itself. Yet another essential quality to have, to be able to be, it really, I rarely say surrender. What I really usually say is submission. And that's the key word in partnership, is to be submitted unto your partner in a way, again, as I was just saying, where you both take care of each other. And it's understood that is the that is the expectation. You know, that's like the baseline, that I take care of you, you take care of me. And we may have different ways of doing that, but that's always the goal, to make sure that you're good, to make sure that I'm good, while we still allow each other to serve ourselves fairly without guilt, you know, or pressure. But that we still, you know, within that are able to serve one another. That's the standard with the Lover's card. There's no room to settle for anything less. And again, that's what I feel. See how it is graduated from the Six of Cups to the Lovers, where they're both on an equal level. They're both in submission to a higher power, both open posture, open body, you know, pure, naked, vulnerable. Complete difference from the past. You know, it's a new energy that prevails now in terms of relationships. And I guess the point of it all is that if you weren't aware that that's what you have cultivated of yourself, and that's what you are commanding energetically, this is your sign. You know, this is me putting you on notice that that's what you've been cooking up through this Mercury retrograde. Especially if you were intentional about your own personal well-being. And so now is the time, as I said before, the old mechanisms of warfare are rested. The new frontier, you know, the new battlefield, so to speak, is really allowing yourself to confidently and securely and gracefully even submit yourself to this new posture of passion fulfilled, you know, where there is an expectation and a presence even of total fulfillment. Not just, you know, the expectation of it coming, but the presence of it, to be in the presence of satisfaction, and so unapologetically, without fear, without mysticism, you know, not knowing if it's okay or if you should be doing something else, or, you know, are you too audacious to feel like you should just be loving life at every moment of the day, if, you know, if at all possible. And simply put, like, you should be so audacious. And that's going to be a hard, hopefully not too hard, so let me retract that. That will be a challenge to get used to, but I would say it's a good challenge to have, to just get used to being pleased in life. That sounds like a good problem to have to me. So, yeah, that's the submission here. Like, is like something you've never experienced before, to just wake up in pleasure, to go about your day in pleasure, to go to sleep at ease and pleased. Like, it doesn't even sound real, but something about it feels like that's what we are stepping into. And all hell mind you, may be breaking loose all around, which is going to even, you know, elevate the degree of difficulty to maintain that presence and posture. But like I said, that is the new call to arms. Not what it was, where you don't know when or where the enemy's going to strike next, because the enemy's got its own issues at this point to deal with. They got their own baggage. Now it's just you and you. Like literally. Yeah, look at this. Wounded warrior. It's just you and you. How easily will you allow yourself, will you allow yourself to release the past? Release those strongholds, those fears, limitations, liabilities, like, will you keep looking toward that, or what? What's on the other side? Oh gosh, more conflict. But here's the Emperor here under here. That's an expression of supreme control, self-control, even, more specifically than anything. One that, as the Empress does as well, that takes the liberty to dictate what takes precedence in their force field, in their kingdom, in their surroundings, in their life, in their livelihood, as a part of their experience. So it's really just a matter of what you give the control over to. And some people can't even really help it right now because they're still stocked in the past. They're still too attached to limitations and addictions and bad habits and limiting mindsets and things of that sort. And until they turn about face, realizing that this general has been defeated at this point in time, some people are still kind of like taking orders from an energy that has been disempowered, for the most part. It only still has power over those that surrender their power to it. So, basically, don't let that be you. Yeah, here's the competition here. People stuck in trying to, fight over a spot, over a space, over attention, over a point of view, a position. It's like those that are living in a more euphoric state of mind and of being now realize that there is no spot worthy of a fight. If you gotta fight that hard to maintain a position, it's probably not rightfully yours. And you probably are ordained or designed to fill some other space more easily and more effectively. So I could go in on what that looks like, but I won't, because I feel like this is energy that's quite contrary to what I'm actually saying. And it even could be, again, a glimpse of what has been overcome, because at some point in time, we've all been tussling in the rat race, or even tussling, having our own inner conflict about what we deserve, about what the past, how the past has affected us, what possibilities we may or may not have for the future, how much control we have over what we create, how much control we relinquish to outside forces. Like, we've all been there. The idea though is to overcome this energy, to triumph over it, as we started in the beginning with the Chariot, to come to a point of fulfillment and supreme self-esteem, where again, that Nine of Cups energy has a long list of accomplishments and achievements that are unique to their own that are specific to their unique expression of their unique spiritual expression, creatively, emotionally, intellectually, mentally, however it was expressed and expelled, it's unique to their divine design. That's why they can sit in the energy of fulfillment, because you didn't have to fight nobody to get that. You didn't have to they cause any casualties to you don't have to cause any casualties to assume that position or to maintain it. It's just rightfully yours when it's destined to be so. Now, the Chariot speaks to how we've had to be defensive against resistance to what was natural, which was unlawful, and which is being justified even now as we speak. But again, that's not the enemy that we are up against anymore, because those adversities are being dismantled day by day, and disarmed. So now you have the opportunity to sit in that spirit of satisfaction for yourself, but still with the responsibility to actually cultivate what that actually does look like and feel like, for you specifically, without being pulled into the fray of competition for competition's sake, or a scarcity mindset, or a limited perspective of what is possible for you, or someone else's influence and control over your existence. Most of who I'm speaking to, I believe from the beginning of the message, this is what you have already overcome, and maybe it just is popping up at the end again to affirm like how deep it really was. Like this is like the emperor and the devil like really have a stronghold that you were attached to, and that was attached to you, that literally had its hooks into you at some points, and you persevered, and you were determined to again find your way to the light, and you did so. And again, you have every right to be proud of that truth. Every right. Now allow yourself to revel in the spoils of that victory without resistance. All right, well, I'm going to leave that there. I'll see you again for another one at some point. I think it might be tomorrow, although I have a really busy day tomorrow, so I'm not sure. But Lord willing, and if the creek don't rise, as the old folks used to say, I'll talk to you tomorrow. All right? In any event, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. It's good to be back for a moment. I definitely have missed you guys. And again, I'm sending nothing but love and light, good vibrations to all. And I hope that you are really, really allowing yourself to enjoy this holiday season. Don't let your joy and peace be stolen by projections. You are supposed to be in the spirit of cheer at this time. No matter what you have, what you're doing, who you're with, hell, if you're by yourself, pray in the spirit of cheer and happiness, as a gift to yourself, if nothing else, because you deserve it, And I pray that that spirit carries you through the rest of the year, and certainly transfers over into 2025, where we could never have enough of it. Because if you think it looks crazy now when you're looking around, my God. But one thing for sure is that what you are maybe bear witness to is not necessarily what will be your experience unless you say so. So assume the control, as it is with the Empress and the Emperor, to dictate what is your truth and what is your reality, because you do have the righteous right to do so. All right. So yeah, again, thanks for listening and watching. Until next time, as always, I'll leave you with peace.